Welcome back. Today we will learn about the explosive revelation that could completely shatter Salem's foundation as we know it. The shocking truth about Rachel Black's incredible 6-word confession is about to unravel everything we thought we knew about the DiMera shooting case. The devastating truth behind Kristen's sacrifice. The heartbreaking reality is becoming crystal clear. Rachel Black holds the key to her mother's freedom, but at what devastating cost? As the horrifying memories begin flooding back like a tsunami of trauma, young Rachel may finally realize that she was the one who pulled the trigger that fateful night, forever changing the DiMera family dynamics. The innocent child's world is about to crumble as she discovers her own involvement in DiMera's near-fatal shooting and comprehends the monumental sacrifice Kristen made by pleading guilty to protect her. Kristen DiMera faced an impossible dilemma when considering her options. She desperately contemplated blaming another innocent party to save herself, but her calculating mind knew that the vengeful and unpredictable Ava Vitali would inevitably return to Salem like a hurricane of fury to expose her elaborate lies if she dared attempt to frame her. The cunning Kristen understood that Ava possessed both the motivation and the resources to systematically dismantle any false narrative, making this option far too dangerous to pursue. The courtroom confession that shocked Salem. When examining the limited roster of potential frame-up candidates, Kristen's analytical mind concluded there simply weren't any viable alternatives who could believably take the fall for such a serious crime. The sophisticated mastermind recognized that pointing the accusatory finger at herself represented the only logical solution in this impossible situation, despite the catastrophic personal consequences that would inevitably follow. Unfortunately, DiMera's stubborn refusal to accept the jury's impending verdict created an even more precarious situation, effectively backing Kristen into an inescapable corner. His unwavering determination to seek absolute justice, regardless of the collateral damage to his own family, forced Kristen's hand in ways she never anticipated. The pressure became unbearable as EJ's relentless pursuit of truth threatened to expose the devastating reality about his young niece's involvement. Days of Our Lives spoilers reveal that Rachel will be completely devastated and utterly shocked following Kristen's dramatic courtroom confession and subsequent arrest. The emotional trauma of witnessing her beloved mother being taken away in handcuffs will create psychological scars that may last for years to come. A mother's love tested to its limits. The most heartbreaking aspect of this entire ordeal is that Kristen looked directly into Rachel's innocent eyes and solemnly swore she wasn't the one who shot EJ. This sacred mother-daughter moment of trust makes Kristen's sudden story transformation even more confusing and emotionally devastating for the vulnerable child. Rachel's world has been turned completely upside down, and her young mind struggles to process the contradictory information. Rachel knows her mother better than anyone else in Salem, creating an intuitive understanding that transcends mere words. Day's spoilers strongly suggest that this deep maternal connection allows Rachel to sense something is fundamentally wrong with Kristen's confession, even if she cannot yet articulate her suspicions. The child's emotional intelligence and keen observational skills may prove to be the key to unraveling this complex web of deception. The prospect of her beloved mother returning to the cold, unforgiving walls of Statesville prison fills Rachel with an overwhelming sense of dread and abandonment. This isn't Kristen's first experience with incarceration, making Rachel's emotional response even more intense as she anticipates losing precious time with the most important person in her life. The medical mystery of dissociative amnesia. DOOL fans are well aware that the brilliant Dr. Marlena Evans has diagnosed Rachel with dissociative amnesia, a complex psychological condition that occurs when the mind protects itself from unbearable trauma. Rachel's subconscious mind effectively erased the memory of accidentally shooting EJ because the emotional weight of the experience was simply too overwhelming for a child to process and survive psychologically intact. This fascinating medical phenomenon explains why Rachel has been acting strangely since the shooting incident, displaying behavioral changes that concerned both her parents and medical professionals. The suppressed memories have been creating internal conflict and emotional turmoil, manifesting in ways that Marlena's trained eye immediately recognized as symptoms of severe psychological distress. However, Kristen's current legal ordeal and imprisonment could serve as the powerful catalyst needed to break through Rachel's psychological barriers and restore her complete memory. The additional trauma of potentially losing her mother again may create enough emotional pressure to shatter the protective walls her mind has constructed around that terrible night. The emotional breaking point. The devastating pain of losing Kristen to the prison system once again represents an incredibly traumatic experience that could paradoxically help trigger Rachel's memory restoration. This secondary trauma may serve as the psychological key that unlocks the suppressed memories, forcing Rachel to confront the truth she has been unconsciously avoiding. Whether this life-changing revelation occurs before Kristen's transport to Statesville or after she has already settled into her familiar prison routine, Rachel's recovered memories could provide the crucial testimony needed to secure her mother's immediate freedom. The timing of this revelation will be absolutely critical in determining how quickly justice can be served and the family can begin healing. Day's viewers should prepare themselves for the emotionally charged moment when Rachel finally springs into decisive action to save her mother from a life behind bars. The dramatic scene will likely feature Rachel courageously stepping forward with her tearful confession, forever changing multiple lives with just 6 powerful words: "I shot EJ, not my mom." Marlena's crucial support system. Days of Our Lives spoilers indicate that the compassionate Dr. Marlena Evans will likely provide unwavering support for Rachel during this incredibly difficult time. Her professional expertise and personal investment in the family's well-being make her the perfect advocate to help Rachel navigate the complex legal and emotional challenges that lie ahead. Marlena's guidance will be instrumental in helping Rachel fine-tune the crucial details of her testimony. The grandmother figure's involvement ensures that Rachel will receive the specialized psychological support necessary to process this traumatic revelation in a healthy manner. Marlena's dual role as both a medical professional and loving family member creates the ideal foundation for Rachel's emotional recovery and legal testimony. The upcoming episodes promise to deliver heart-wrenching drama that will fundamentally reshape the DiMera family dynamics while testing the unbreakable bonds between mother and daughter. Stay tuned for all the incredible developments surrounding Rachel's courageous confession and Kristen's potential freedom. Next, if you thought the drama in Salem had reached its peak with the Johnny DiMera trial, you'll want to pull up your favorite armchair and settle in. The upcoming week of August 25th promises to deliver a whirlwind of courtroom chaos, heartfelt sacrifices, and stunning romantic developments that will have us all talking for weeks to come. From a mother's desperate act to save her child to a verdict that will change everything, the storylines are heating up faster than a pot of coffee at the Brady pub. Let's pour ourselves a cup and take a slow, careful look at what's in store for our favorite Salem residents. This is one of those weeks where you won't want to miss a single minute. Kristen DiMera's ultimate sacrifice: a mother's love knows no bounds. The first and most heart-wrenching storyline centers on the ever-unpredictable Kristen DiMera and her young daughter, Rachel Black. For weeks, the town has been reeling from the shocking truth that her own daughter, little Rachel, was the one who pulled the trigger on EJ DiMera. While any other mother might shrink from this horrifying reality, Kristen has always been a lioness when it comes to her cub, and this time is no different. As we know, Rachel isn't a malicious child. She is a little girl lost in a world of adult secrets and pain. Her desperate act was born from a simple, heartbreaking wish, to force EJ to tell her the whereabouts of her missing grandmother. In a child's mind, it was the only way to get answers. However, having grown up surrounded by the DiMera family's constant turmoil, poor Rachel has seen and heard far too much for someone her age. The innocence that should have defined her childhood has been replaced by trauma, leaving her confused and lashing out. Next week, this simmering tragedy will boil over in the courtroom. Spoilers reveal that Kristen will have a complete meltdown before the judge. We can picture the scene now: the stern judge, the stone-faced lawyers, and Kristen, consumed by a mother's terror, realizing her daughter's entire future is on the line. Expect shouting, tears, and a dramatic scene where a bailiff must physically restrain her. But this isn't just a moment of uncontrolled anger. It appears to be a calculated, desperate plan. All signs point to Kristen making the ultimate sacrifice, taking the fall for her daughter. Will she confess to the crime herself? Will she create such a chaotic scene that the court deems her an unfit guardian, hoping that any other fate for Rachel is better than being tied to a mother on trial? Whatever her method, Kristen is prepared to trade her own freedom for her daughter's, proving that even after all her villainous deeds, her love for Rachel remains her one true north. A troubled child's future. Can Rachel Black be saved? Even if Kristen's sacrifice succeeds in keeping Rachel out of legal trouble, the emotional wounds are deep and festering. A child who resorts to such violence is a child in desperate need of help, and thankfully, it seems Salem's most trusted professional is about to step in. Interestingly, spoilers indicate that Dr. Marlena Evans will be taking a leave of absence from her duties at the hospital. This is no small detail. Marlena doesn't step away from her work lightly. It seems she sees the profound crisis Rachel is in and feels a deep, personal responsibility to intervene. After all, who better to understand the complexities of the DiMera family's impact on a child's mind than the woman who has navigated their darkness for decades? Marlena knows that jail cells and courtrooms can't heal a wounded soul. Rachel needs intensive therapy, patience, and a safe space to unravel the trauma she's endured. It's a beautiful, classic Days of Our Lives development to see Marlena, a pillar of goodness and stability, stepping up to save the granddaughter of her greatest nemesis, Stefano DiMera. We also wonder if Marlena will work alone. The name, Kat Green, a newer therapist in town, has been mentioned. Perhaps Marlena, recognizing the severity of Rachel's case, will seek a fresh perspective or collaborate with a colleague to ensure the little girl gets the best care possible. It takes a village to raise a child, and in Salem, it may take two of its best therapists to save one. The verdict is in, Johnny DiMera's new lease on life. While Kristen's drama unfolds, another court case will finally reach its conclusion. After weeks of tense deliberation and that fiery showdown in the jury room, a verdict will be handed down in the trial of Johnny DiMera. Fans who have been rooting for the young man can breathe a sigh of relief. Spoilers for the week of August 25 reveal that Johnny will be found not guilty. The relief in the courtroom will be immense. We can expect a tearful, joyous celebration as Johnny embraces his devoted wife, Chanel Dupree DiMera. They have weathered this storm together, and their bond has only strengthened under the pressure. This victory will feel like a brand new start for the young couple, a chance to finally move past the accusations and build a life together without the shadow of a prison sentence looming over them. But as seasoned soap viewers know, the end is never truly the end. What comes next for Johnny and Chanel? A not guilty verdict doesn't erase the public scrutiny or the emotional toll of the trial. Will they decide to leave the drama of Salem behind for a quieter life elsewhere? Or will they choose to stay and prove to the town, and to themselves, that they can overcome any obstacle? Their celebration will be sweet, but their next chapter is just beginning. A familiar face, a new romance, Philip Kiriakis' surprising path. Finally, in a twist that will surely get the town talking, spoilers indicate a surprising turn in the romantic life of Philip Kiriakis. The Kiriakis heir, who has a long and complicated history with the women of Salem, is reportedly sleeping with a man again. For long-time viewers, this isn't entirely out of left field, but it marks a significant development in his current journey. This raises so many questions. Is this a passing affair or the beginning of a meaningful new relationship for Philip? And, most importantly, who is the man who has captured his attention? Is it a new character, or could it be a familiar face, leading to even more complex drama? Philip has always been a passionate, if sometimes reckless, soul. Seeing him explore this side of himself again promises a rich, character-driven story. We can only imagine how the news will be received within the powerful Kiriakis clan, as family opinion has always weighed heavily on him.